Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to Purplatypus is the name, and today we are doing another Sword of Convallaria video. Now, today I did something a little bit different. We're not doing gameplay because I still don't have access to the game, but I thought it would be fun. What I did is I did a bit of a text interview with this person here, Celion. They are a day one player from TW and CN. I think those are the two regions that currently have the game. So I did a little bit of an interview with them. I just kind of typed them out some questions. They said their speaking English isn't that fluent, so we just did a text interview. But yeah, I kind of wanted to get insight to what the game is like. Not as much like meta stuff like that, as more just like what do they feel about the game? What do they think about the game after a year of playing? But yeah, I got a little reference thing here I'll use. Got the game open for some backtrack. This is probably the most interesting thing to look at, but I'm just going to leave it up anyway. That's probably fine. So, we got my questions here and then basically their responses. So I was like, how much experience do you have playing the game? I kind of just wanted to give an understanding here. They've been playing since August 2023, which was the release date of the game originally. So just about a year. Now, what are their spending? They said they are completely free to play. And they said that they're completely free to play mostly because it was difficult to spend money due to some sort of verification process you had to do in order to spend money. But so they were like literally unable to spend money. So they are completely free to play. One thing that so this is basically, I just wanted to get their background. All right. It's kind of like what you could expect. You know, what is this player? Who are they representing? They're expecting a day one free to play player, which is a very, very important aspect, I think, of this game. I am interested in a Wales perspective as well, but it's harder to find those right now. All right. How do you feel that the free to play experience of the game is overall? Can a free-to-play player enjoy everything there is in the game? So I think this part's actually really interesting. Of course, they said they really enjoy the game, but they kind of acknowledge that they've had luck with meta units. So even though they're free-to-play, they've gotten lucky with their resources, basically. But they probably have also been utilizing them well. But as a completely free-to-play player, they said that they can reach the top 5% in the PvE late games. So I think there's a leaderboard because they refer down here to something called a dashboard, but I think it might be leaderboard and just kind of like a little bit of a not fluent here. Top of the dashboard, right? And they also included that up here. So I'm thinking that they have a leaderboard for PvE towers. Like there's like some sort of tower thing. So they're saying that they're actually in the top 5% of all players on their server, even though they're free to play because they play meta, right? Now, I think this kind of goes without saying that the PvP is going to be a whale wars, right? Like that's just kind of what these gotchas are. The player versus player expense is just going to cause it to be, it's just not viable to do super well, probably top 5%. But being able to be that good in PvE means that you've used your resources really, really well. So not only in the non-gotcha mode, which is just like a fun game, but also in the gotcha mode, where it's very tactical combat, you could truly excel if you're using your resources well, which I think is super interesting. All right, what do you like most about the game? So the things that they highlighted is the graphics, of course, Final Fantasy Tactics graphics, right? It's like nostalgia in graphic form. I really love it. But they also want to emphasize that they really like the gameplay. However, this person, which is a good segue here, they said that they love making guides. So I'm actually going to plug their Twitter right here as well. They're not doing YouTube content. However, if you were interested in this game, you might want to consider following them on Twitter. You could take a look at, like, a lot of this information isn't super useful to me right now because this is like, just like, I don't know anything about these units, right? But as we start playing the game, you can see, right, here's the way units are going to come out. Here's their tier list, right? So they're making a bunch of guides and a bunch of really cool breakdowns for like, oh, here's recommended gear. Here's what you should engrave them with. Here's the recommended skills, yada, yada, blah, blah. So this person does make a lot of guides. Even though they're not making video guides, I do believe that they are working on it. So, and honestly, I could relate to, obviously, as someone that, my favorite thing about the game is probably going to be making guides for it too, honestly. It just, if that's the kind of person you are, that's just the kind of person you are. All right, what are some of the things they would like to see improved about the game? So one of the things that they felt was lacking was basically multiplayer interaction, co-op interaction, friend interaction. So he thought it would be really cool if they added the ability to let someone borrow your units. And they wanted some sort of multiplayer content, like a raid where you could do co-op stuff. So it sounds like the social features might not be completely there yet. I do believe that they're adding guild PvP and guild content, but still, it sounds like having more things to do with maybe just more one-on-one, maybe more co-op instead of full guild stuff is something that they would like to see added to the game, which I already, I agree with that. Of course, it's super fun to get content where you can play with buddies. Doing stuff with friends and with guilds is what causes, when you get large groups of people doing stuff together, that's what causes large groups of people to stay in the game and keep doing it. And finally, this is a big one here, right? Any advice for new players? Again, this is a person that likes making guides, so it's just something that it's like, there's a lot of stuff. First, they said, save your blue orbs. I don't know what that means, but I do know that I'm not going to waste all my blue orbs. I do know that. One thing they wanted to highlight is when you're leveling up skills, you're selecting skills. They had misclicked like 4 different times by accidentally selecting the wrong skill. Now, this is UI I'm not familiar with, but when you're selecting your skills, just be careful. Make sure you're selecting what you want. Make sure you're reading it carefully and you're actually getting what you want. Because apparently they said they did it 4 times, right? You would, after the first time or the second time, you would think, so it must just be like an unintuitive AI, or if you're trying to rush through it. So if you're looking for meta units, of course, don't pull for every unit in the game. That's obvious. But what they really wanted to highlight here is that if you're a free-to-play player, that even when the game launches, you want to start saving your gems, your pull currency right away. Because 3 of the super high value banners are coming out right after another. Like basically right when the game comes out, 3 of the strongest tier 0 super powerful units in the whole game are going to be coming out. And that is going to be Sophia, August, and Cocoa. Cocoa. I think it's just Cocoa. But basically they're going to be coming out shortly after release, like boom, 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 and they're all insanely good. So you might not even want to pull that much when you first get your units. If you're free to play, you might want to just start saving right away. Because they're going to be coming out and they're going to be badass. So this person actually is they're kind of a meta gamer, but like you said, if you're in the top 5% free to play, you're a meta gamer, right? You don't get there by mistake. So they really emphasize that when possible, you should play the meta, as long as because it leads to having more fun overall. But of course, this is just not the way you like to play, it's not the way you like to play. But if you play the meta, you basically, you have an easier job getting content, you have an easier job topping the leaderboards, so you get more income, and then it's kind of like this fulfilling cycle, right? Because then when you have a lot of resources, you could then pull for more units, and when you have more units, you can more easily beat the content, yada, yada, blah, blah. So that was something they wanted to emphasize, that playing the meta in this game as free to play is super important. The more money you're willing to spend, the less meta I feel like you have to focus on, because you just have stuff. Whereas if you're free to play, your resources are going to be super limited, right? I don't know exactly how many pulls you get a month. That's still something I need to look into. Also, get help with Windows Notepad, apparently. Oh, big one here. There are weapon banners, like in a lot of other gachas. There's the weapons in Genshin and the light cones and Honkai Star Rail. Basically, they said just never touch them if you're free to play. There are going to be SSRs, like super rare weapons you could farm from events. And also, you don't need to pull, especially as a free-to-play, you don't need to pull for dupes of units. You are able to daily farm shards on units. So any unit, once you get 1 copy of it, you're able to max out. But I believe I heard it takes about 3 months per unit to max it out. But I think you could do multiple at the same time. You could do 3 at a time. So it's like once every month you could max out a unit, I think is how it works. I mean, I might not be perfectly correct there, but that's kind of what it is. You don't need to pull dupes because you can farm their currency within the game itself. So free to play, that's put an emphasis on that. If you want to speed up the process, then you're basically paying to speed up the process. But you do need to get that first copy if you want to do that. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of, what is someone that's played the game for a year? How did they feel about the game? All right. And all I can say is this person's a free to play. They've been playing for a year. They're having a lot of fun. They're a top contender in the game. This person is maybe on the outskirts because they're knowledgeable and they make guides and stuff, so they're already very Megamind focused. Megamind? What's the name of that movie with Will Ferrell? Doesn't matter. But I thought this was a really cool insight where it's like someone that is dedicated to the game and it is playing free to play. You could be one of the top players in the game, and you could be really proud of your account. You're not going to be good in PvP. I mean, you could be good in PvP, but you're not going to beat PvP just because it's like their power difference is going to be too extreme. But outside of that, like, you can really get a lot of value out of this game. And I'm sure, like, if you're a top 5% PvE gamer that guilds are probably going to want you, right? So you could probably be in a great guild, do good at the content, grind the stuff out, and it just sounds like it's a lot of fun for this player. Now, I am interested in the whale experience as well. If you have any other questions about the game, let me know, and I'll see if I could reach out and kind of get some more questions answered. But finally, go ahead and check out the pinned comments here. I am going to put their Twitter here so you can follow for some really, really nicely designed like guides. And then also I'm going to put a link to the Discord down below where you can also check out. You can find me in there a lot of times, and you can find other content creators and people and just talk about the game. A lot of people are really excited for it. It comes out in just a couple days now, just under a week. I think it comes out on the 31st. So 6 days from now, 7 days from now. Anyway, that's all for today, guys. Thank you very much. Purplatypus is Purplatypus. I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Platypus on the rise, watch the views go.